What if your entire view of life, love, power, fear, and meaning could change because of just 7 books? Not 7 trendy titles, not 7 motivational cliches, but 7 books that have survived wars, revolutions, censorship, heartbreak, and time itself. Books that don't just entertain you, they confront you. If you read even one of these at the right moment, it might alter the direction of your life forever. Before you scroll away, subscribe now, because this list isn't about reading more books, it's about understanding life before it decides to test you. There comes a moment in every life when distraction stops working, when noise fades, when the endless scrolling, the shallow conversations, the daily routines no longer answer the deeper questions quietly forming inside the mind. It is usually in moments of loss, transition, fear, or sudden clarity that people turn to books, not for entertainment but for understanding. Throughout history, when civilizations collapsed or were reborn, books remained. They carried wisdom forward when voices were silenced. They preserved human truth when memory failed. And among the millions of books written, only a few continue to speak across centuries as if they were written for you, right now, in this exact moment of your life. The first book everyone should read before anything else happens is not comforting. It does not promise happiness or success. Instead, it stares directly at suffering and refuses to look away. This book forces you to confront the uncomfortable truth that pain is unavoidable, but meaning is optional. It teaches that life is not fair, not kind, and not obligated to make sense, yet still worth living if you choose responsibility over resentment. Readers often feel shaken after finishing it, as if someone quietly rearranged the furniture inside their mind. It teaches that chaos exists both in the world and within us, and that order is not something we find but something we build, one deliberate action at a time. This book is not read for pleasure. It is read for survival. The second book belongs to the category of fiction, but its power lies in how dangerously real it feels. It explores what happens when society decides that truth is flexible and control is safety. When language itself is reshaped to limit thought. When people begin to fear thinking more than they fear oppression. Readers often finish this book with an unsettling awareness of how fragile freedom truly is. It doesn't shout warnings, it whispers them. It shows how easily comfort can replace courage, and how quickly people can accept lies if the lies feel stable. Long after the final page, you start noticing its themes everywhere, in headlines, in politics, in social media, even in your own thoughts. It is a book that doesn't end when you stop reading. It follows you. The third book on this list is deceptively small, often underestimated, and frequently misunderstood. Yet within its brief pages lies one of the most honest confrontations with existence ever written. It does not offer hope in the traditional sense. Instead, it offers clarity. It asks whether life has inherent meaning or whether meaning is something humans invent to survive the absurdity of being alive. Rather than answering the question directly, it challenges you to live anyway, to imagine pushing a stone uphill every day and still finding dignity in the act itself. This book is often read during periods of quiet despair, and strangely, it doesn't make readers feel worse. It makes them feel awake. The fourth book is ancient, poetic, and often misread as purely religious, when in fact it is deeply human. It grapples with love, betrayal, power, forgiveness, fear, and mortality in ways that still feel painfully relevant. Its stories are filled with flawed people making irreversible decisions, facing consequences they never expected. You don't read this book to become moral. You read it to understand why humans repeat the same mistakes across generations. Why pride destroys. Why compassion redeems. Why wisdom often comes too late. Whether you believe in its spiritual message or not, its psychological and philosophical depth is undeniable. It has shaped laws, cultures, and consciences for thousands of years, and continues to do so quietly. The fifth book is not loud. It doesn't preach. It observes. It studies human behavior with unsettling precision, exposing how people deceive others, and more dangerously, how they deceive themselves. It explains why intelligent people make foolish decisions, why ambition often turns into self-sabotage, and why understanding human nature is more powerful than intelligence alone. This book feels like holding up a mirror you didn't ask for. You begin to recognize patterns in yourself, in your relationships, in history. It is uncomfortable, but empowering. Because once you see the patterns, you can no longer pretend you are immune to them. The sixth book is often labeled a novel, but that description does not capture its emotional weight. It explores guilt, redemption, pride, and the quiet war between rational thought and moral conscience. At its core is a question that haunts many people: what happens after you cross a line you can never uncross? This book does not judge its characters, it dissects them. It forces readers to sit inside the mind of someone who believes they are justified, only to witness the slow collapse that follows. Many readers report feeling exhausted after finishing it, as if they lived another life entirely. That exhaustion is not weakness. It is empathy expanded. The seventh and final book on this list is often mistaken for a guide to success or wealth, but its true subject is power, how it moves, how it hides, and how it corrupts those who misunderstand it. It does not tell you to be good or evil. It tells you to be aware. It reveals uncomfortable truths about human competition, manipulation, and survival in social hierarchies. Some readers feel disturbed by it. Others feel empowered. The book itself is neutral. The danger lies in reading it without self-awareness. Read it to protect yourself, not to dominate others, and it becomes a shield rather than a weapon. What unites these 7 books is not genre, length, or popularity. It is their refusal to lie. None of them promise easy answers. None of them tell you everything will be fine. Instead, they treat you like an adult, capable of confronting fear, uncertainty, and responsibility. They assume you are strong enough to face reality without filters. That is why they endure. That is why people return to them at different stages of life and discover new meanings each time. Many people say they don't have time to read. But the truth is, everyone makes time for what they believe matters. These books are not meant to be rushed. They are meant to be lived with, to be argued with, to be disagreed with, to be closed and reopened years later when life hits differently. Some of them may not resonate with you now, but they might become essential later, when circumstances change and questions deepen. If you read these books early, they prepare you. If you read them late, they explain. Either way, they leave marks. They shape how you think, how you judge, how you endure. They teach you that intelligence without wisdom is fragile, that comfort without truth is dangerous, and that meaning is not something handed to you, it is something you construct through choice, responsibility, and courage. In a world obsessed with speed, these books ask you to slow down. In a culture addicted to certainty, they introduce doubt, not as weakness, but as honesty. And in a time where opinions are louder than understanding, they invite you to think deeply, quietly, and independently. You may never finish all 7. Few people do. But even encountering one at the right moment can change how you see yourself and the world. That is the power of books that survive everything: wars, regimes, trends, and time itself. They wait patiently until you are ready. If this story made you think, don't let the moment pass. Like this video, share it with someone who needs a deeper conversation, and comment which book changed your life, or which one you're ready to read next. Subscribe now for stories that challenge your thinking, expand your perspective, and help you navigate life with clarity before whatever happens next happens.